G'day viewers, a little word about the rule book. I just want to say that we do not have the option of choosing which rule we'd like to follow. I know there's a lot of stuff in here that some people would think it's quite ridiculous. Why? Why would we do that? It's a silly rule. However, it's in there for a reason, and it's in there because something has happened. A lot of people say that the rule book is written in blood. It's because there's been an issue, there's been an accident or something like that, and so it's been put in a rule book. They don't want to make the rule book too big, and so they're very careful about what they do put in here. In actual fact, I believe that the rule book should be a lot bigger, because a lot of people complain that the rule book hasn't got a definite answer on something. And so really what they're wanting is a definite answer, so they want more in the book, and yet they also complain that the rule book is way too big. So they want it both ways. They want a definite answer, but they want a smaller rule book. Really, we could just do with chapter 1. We could say, chapter 1, there's your rule book, guys, chapter 1, because that's your standard in chapter 1. The rest of the book is telling us how to comply with chapter 1. And that's what we would like. We would like a definite answer on how to comply. But rules in here that some people think are a little bit overboard. However, really guys, we don't have enough experience under our belt to be able to determine all the different things that can go wrong in a job where someone could get hurt. If you take, for instance, a lot of people in other states in Australia wouldn't be familiar with the issue that happened at what's commonly called Morley Galleria, which is a shopping centre in Western Australia, just north of the Perth city. There's an issue that happened there where 2 men were killed, burnt to death, and 2 survived. 1, I believe, hasn't got back into work. This is back in 2015, and 1 is back at work, but 4 men were involved in this incident. They've been cleared of wrongdoing, but in what happened, it was just a system of so many things that were in place that went wrong. And if just one of those things hadn't happened, then the incident wouldn't happen. So the likes of, if the transformer was tested before it was installed, if the fault on the tap changer had been found before, if the first time they changed the fuse, they actually shut the system down instead of changing the fuse, and so if they found the fault before that, if the protection at the substations serving the shopping centre, if the protection was working, then it wouldn't have happened. If when the fuse broke, it didn't fall back into the tank, or if it fell back in a tank, it landed even 2 inches away from the high voltage points, wouldn't have been an issue. If they had their PPE, wouldn't be an issue. If there wasn't so many people in the substation, wouldn't be an issue. The jamming of the door and locking them inside certainly made it a lot worse, but that wasn't a contributing factor, but it just made it worse. So there's a lot of things that lined up on that job, and if there was some rule, which is now we have a rule that you cannot change fuses live on the oil-filled ring main units, and that's fine. And some people, and me included, would say it's perfectly fine to change the fuses live. But you can see where in that one incident where everything lined up, there was an issue. The same with the rule book. We don't know what else could line up with the issue, with what we're doing, so we cannot choose which rule in the rule book is good to follow and which one is not good to follow. Then remember that the rule book is the minimum standard, the absolute minimum. If anything, you go above it. That's why we're in strife if we don't at least reach that minimum standard that's in the rule book. So guys, if you have trouble with the rule book, get stuck into it, understand it, so as in it's not so hard, and please don't choose which rules you think are good, which rules you think is silly. It's in there for a reason. Okay, hope it helps. See you tomorrow.